Hello viewers, and welcome to the Chronicles Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Costa, and behind that camera right there is your co-host and producer, Michael Clark. Let's talk about what you can expect on this podcast. This podcast is a variety of short stories produced by Durham College's broadcast journalism students. On our first episode, we'll discuss the infamous piano in the pit, students' opinions on Mythbusters, and even a delicious recipe to get you through your weekend. After that, we'll talk about the future campus building, schools merging to save their bacon, and a trade deal that comes with its ups and downs. Stick along, and you'll see Michael Clark later for some of the more serious content. Mythbusters hosts Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman are making sure their last season will be a blast, figuratively and literally. Our very own Michael Clark talked to students around campus to get their favorite moments from Discovery's longest-running TV series.
My favorite Mythbusters episode would probably be the ninja one, because they broke my childhood dreams of catching arrows and running on water.
One of my favorite episodes was when they did the myth of if you could clear a cement truck with a stick of dynamite. The reason why that was one of my favorite episodes was just because that was the largest explosion they ever had in that show. They actually completely destroyed a whole cement truck with dynamite. It was really cool.
One of my favorite episodes of Mythbusters when they did the Doom episode, where they tested out to see if you could actually walk around with a whole bunch of guns on your back. They did it, and they found out they could still do it. But I like the part when they actually got a UFC fighter to do it, and then he just powered right through it.
Enough with Mythbusters. Something that has bothered me in my 2 years here at Durham College has been the random piano located in the pit. Do you ever wonder how that piano got there? Well, it started with a few people, a generous donation, and a bit of pain. In 2013, former Associate Dean of Media Art and Design, Charlotte Hale, and President Don Lavisa came up with a plan to place the piano in the pit long term. Being the least creative person on this planet, I was introduced to this idea through one of my profs, and to date, it's been one of my favorite stories I've produced. Check it out. Walking through the pit, students may hear anything from Mary Had a Little Lamb to Mozart's Symphony No. 40, but not many people know how it got there. Former Associate Dean of Media Art and Design, Charlotte Hale, says she first thought of the idea back in 2012. Hale explains how she always used to go down to the choir room, located in C113, to play some piano in her downtime. Hale says that although students hang around in the pit, it didn't have something to bring everyone together, and says music can always do that, regardless of the genre. When the piano wasn't in use by the choir, Hale would get staff to wheel it out to the pit so she could play for people walking by. President Don Lavisa noticed her idea and joined the effort to place a piano in the pit year-round.
So anyways, as a musician myself, I think it's fabulous. Music brings people together. It's interesting to watch if you get a really good pianist in there.
Lavisa set a budget of $500. Hale searched for a piano at the Oshawa store, Telep, a piano and clock warehouse. Hale noticed the immediate impact of the piano.
But it's been just amazing to me, the quality and the level of music that's coming, and it's across the board. It's staff, students, and faculty.
Hale says the piano saw a lot of use, and the pit eventually needed a replacement. Coincidentally, a staff member from Human Resources, Debbie White, offered up her family's piano for the pit. The next step was to make the piano represent students at Durham College. The school searched for a student to design it. Program coordinator Sean McKay of Advanced Fine Arts chose Kevin Cormier to design the piano and make something unique for DC.
To one of our graduates who basically is a graffiti artist. I had met him in the community. I bought another piece of art from him at an auction. And we said, okay, give us a design, but it must have I Heart DC on it. That's the only condition.
Lavisa and Hale are both pleased with the result.
You can't put a price tag on what happens to you when you walk through that space and someone's playing beautiful music. It lifts you up a little bit, and that to me that's the purpose of music.
The piano has proven to be so popular that the Whitby campus had one installed shortly after. In the pit, for the Chronicle, I'm Alex Costa. two of my favorite things, music and some food. Whenever I have some free time on my hands, I tend to go down to the pit. Of course, with a greasy slice of za. Speaking of food, having some trouble finding some simple meals to make? Well, listen in on a little cooking lesson that the Chronicle reporters Ramona Pillai and Sandia Vishwanathan found at the Center for Food at Whitby campus. Find out how to make an easy and delicious bowl of chicken bacon pasta. This is something you university and college students should definitely pay attention to.
Hi, I'm Ron Subden, the executive chef here at Bistro 67 at the Center for Food here at Durham College. Today, I'm going to give you guys a really quick, easy pasta dish that you can do right at home with some very simple ingredients you can buy at the grocery store. Today, we're going to make a pesto pan pasta with smoked bacon and chicken, a little bit of cream, just to finish it off. So, what we're going to start with is a nice frying pan. If you have a non-stick one, usually better, but if not, that's okay. And we're also going to add a little bit of oil to our pasta, just to give it, just so nothing sticks to the pan, basically. Then we're going to take 50 grams of smoked bacon. If you can get some at the grocery store, just chop it up into little pieces and throw that in the frying pan. And you want it to get nice and hot and crispy and relatively well cooked, but not so cooked that it's going to burn. You don't want that either. Then, while that's going, just want to keep an eye on it. If you could get your hands on some cooked chicken, about 100 grams of cooked chicken will probably work really well. And once the bacon starts getting crispy, that would be a good time to add in your smoked chicken. It takes a couple of minutes. I'm just doing the fast version. So as you can see, it's starting to really get sizzly and hot. Now while that's going, it's a good time to put a little pot of hot water, boil some water, and get your pasta cooked off. You can use whatever pasta you want, penne, rigatoni, fusilli, linguine. I'm going to use penne. And how much? It depends on you, how hungry you are. Now my chicken's getting nice and hot and it's sizzling in some of the fat that's coming out of the smoked bacon. What I'm going to do now is add some 35% cream or whipping cream, and what it's going to do is it's going to start to boil, and as it reduces it's going to thicken up a little bit, and that's going to become our sauce. As you can see, it's starting to boil. As the moisture evaporates, it actually starts to turn into a little sauce. Then, you can buy this at the grocery store too, but it is optional if you want to throw in some pesto. It starts to turn all nice and green and garlicky. And you can also tell now it's starting to thicken up and look like a sauce. Now's a good time to add in your pasta. If you add it in hot, that's fine. If you add it in cold, that's okay too, because as you toss it around, the heat from the sauce will warm up the pasta. It's always nice to add a little bit of salt and pepper too, but that's up to you, however much salt you like to put in your food. And as a final touch, and again, this is optional too, you can throw in some shredded cheese if you want to add Parmesan or Gruyere or whatever cheese you have at home. Asiago. Mix that all up. And then basically all you want to do, when it's nice and hot, get it into a nice plate. And there you go, pesto pan pasta.
That looks good. You know what also looks good? a new plan for more open space and green trails at Durham College in UOIT. A positive change for the campus is coming, and of course, Michael Clark has more on the story.
The Oshawa Creek and the Forest Valley are an important part of the campus and the local community. The creek offers a spawning path for salmon and is connected to the area's stormwater management pond. The campus's master plan for expansion will mean more school buildings. It also includes discussions about integrating trails along the creek with that future campus. According to the plans, the new trails would go through the forest, which is part of the creek, heading north of Cotton Road through the old Winfield farmlands. Last month, the two schools held an open house to unveil the complete version of the master plan. 3D model videos at the event showed what the campus would look like in the future. Besides new buildings and transit stations was the proposed idea for more open space and recreational trails in the forest area. They would link the old and the new campuses together. Elizabeth Gillen is a senior planner for the MMM group, the contractors in charge of the plans. Gillen says the trails are a key feature to the plans.
The integration of the future campus and the existing campus with the natural systems, being the Oshawa Creek, and really taking advantage of those key natural features.
The Central Lake Ontario Conservation Authority, or CLOCA, protects the creek in the Forest Valley. It's also a stakeholder in the master plan development. CLOCA has given input about the protected lands and the area's importance as a center for migration of fish species such as trout, bass, suckers, and salmon. Chris Jones is the director of planning with CLOCA.
We'll be letting the planners know that are working for the college where the environmental areas are that need to be protected, and also how the stormwater management for the campus could be optimized to protect downstream areas from flooding.
The plans have not yet been finalized, but the MMM group hopes that this space will become a main feature of the campus in the near future. In Oshawa, reporting for the Chronicle, I'm Michael Clark.
Hey there, I'm Michael Clark, and up next is another broadcast piece talking about the declining numbers of Catholic schools in the Durham region. Oshawa's Monsignor John Perema Catholic Seminary has accepted students in grade 7 and 8. While that will help the decline of enrollment in the school, it will also give younger students access to high school resources that they wouldn't normally have. While most high schools start at grade 9, Monsignor John Perema Catholic Secondary School is accepting grade 7 and 8 students. In September of this year, John Perema launched the Catholic School Board's first grade 7 to 12 secondary school model. After reports 2 years ago showed the school's enrollment rate would decline if the 2 grades weren't added, the Catholic School Board approved the pilot project for a grade 7 to 12 model. One of the school's vice principals, Jay Cachette, previously at elementary VP, explains why the school changed and their hopes for the new model.
The grade 7 to 12 model, it's a pilot project here in the Durham Catholic Board. We really believe that, kids in grade 7 and 8 have more in common with kids in grade 9 to 12 than they do with the early learners. And so we have our adolescents here in the secondary learning environment to try and provide them with a more relevant education for them. So we've done a lot of upgrades here at Monsignor Perema to make it a state-of-the-art 21st century learning environment for these kids. And so far things have been going really well.
This new learning environment has been renovated, and new areas have or will be added to the school. One new area is the new Learning Commons, which was the old school library before the redesign. It is now a modern study space with comfy seats and a study room full of computers. The school board hopes to build a new gym soon. The new gym will sport indoor change rooms and serve as a cafeteria space for grade 7 and 8 students. At the moment, the school is using a temporary portable gym. When plans were first introduced, the parents of the grade 7 and 8s were concerned about their children walking in the same halls as 9th and 12th graders. The school board addressed these concerns by having the school build distinct areas between the two groups, like the cafeteria. To avoid potential problems with bullying, There will be separate classrooms and separate dismissal times. There will also be doors to divide the younger students from the rest of the school. The school board and its trustees are very keen with getting the parents on their side. At the Catholic School Board, employees Louis Morglis and Tim Robbins have been making sure that communication is clear between the school and the parents. Tim Robbins talks about the advantages the model offers the students.
The advantages for the 7 and 8 grades going in is ability of resources that a 9 to 12 student would have. So all the arts programs, drama, gymnasium, music, bands, athletics, that you don't normally find in a K to 8 school environment.
This new environment will bring a positive impact to the school's community. Board members like Lewis want to make sure that parents understand that.
I've been here for almost 5 years. Having met parents who we saw through the process when we started in, having met them this fall, the transformation that they've gone through and their family has gone through is nothing short of remarkable. They get it. They quite like the facility, and they're really enjoying the experience they're having down at the school right now, which is what we had hoped would take place all along.
With the new school model in place, John Perryma Secondary School hopes to have around 700 students enrolled this year. In Oshawa, reporting for the Chronicle, I'm Michael Clark.
And our last story for today is talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or otherwise known as the TPP. If approved, 12 nations that are part of this trade pact will, according to experts, open up 40% of the world's economy. Despite arguments that the trade deal is in fact good for the economy in Canada, others have argued against it, saying that it will affect the auto manufacturing industry in Canada.
The city of Oshawa, the Motor City of Canada, is home to one of the largest auto manufacturing plants in North America. The plant, which is owned by General Motors, produces current models like the Buick Regal, Cadillac XTS, Chevrolet Impala, and the Chevrolet Equinox. The Oshawa plant has around 3,600 employees. Most are unionized. The plant's union, Unifor, is a big opponent to the TPP, saying the deal will allow foreign manufacturers like Japan to walk into Canadian markets almost tariff-free. The result? Unifor says worse conditions for Canada's auto industry. Oshawa's local Unifor president, Ron Svalenko, talks about the trade deal and how it would give foreign manufacturers more power in our markets.
Inside the free trade agreement that we have in North America, for any of the vehicles, finished products, to move between Canada, United States, and Mexico, 62.5% of that vehicle has to be created in one of those three countries. Okay? So that means 37.5 can be created anywhere in the world. Now the TPP rolls over that number and takes it down to 45%, which essentially means 55% of any vehicle can be built anywhere in the world. And if you take a look at the manufacturing history in places like Japan, they've been very, very focused on maintaining a manufacturing footprint, which means your neighbor, if you will, China, could be building essentially 55% of the vehicle, shipping it into Japan for final assembly, and they would have access to any of our markets tariff-free. And obviously we know that an average industrial wage in China is under $6 an hour all in, and there's no way we can compete with that, so that concerns us. As far as the Oshawa impact, we're estimating somewhere between 12 and 1,500 jobs will be the impact locally here if they implement the TPP.
While Svalenko is not in favor of the deal, others feel that not implementing the TPP will only distance Canada from other trade partners. Conservative federal MP Aaron O'Toole wants Canada to be part of this pact. O'Toole believes the TPP will open up trade markets and, in fact, help the auto industry. For O'Toole, there is no question as to whether or not Canada should be involved.
The key question about the Trans-Pacific Partnership was if Canada was not in this agreement, we would be at a huge disadvantage. If the United States and Mexico entered into the Trans-Pacific Partnership and we didn't, suddenly the least competitive country in North America would be Canada, because we wouldn't have the preferred access to the 700 million people. So why would Honda invest more in Ontario when our market has less access for them? Why would GM invest more in Oshawa if the Oshawa plants had less access than the plants in Michigan, a few hours away. These are the realities, and you don't hear people talk about that in enough detail. If we want to end the auto industry, we would not be part of TPP. That would basically guarantee it. We've seen in Ottawa and Ontario.
O'Toole's party, the Conservatives, had promised to give $1 billion over 10 years to soften the blow that TPP would have on the auto industry. But that promise ended with the election of the Liberals. It's unclear what the Liberals will do to help Canadian industries should the TPP be implemented. Provincial MPP for Oshawa, Jennifer French, believes that the next move is to get all levels of government together to strengthen and support local communities affected by the deal.
I supported our municipality and their motion to, they were calling for a copy of the TPP. That was before, so we've moved beyond that. So now the details are public. But listening to the municipalities as they're looking at this deal and they're having concerns. So I think that the federal and provincial and municipal players need to all work together to ensure that those communities that are impacted significantly by manufacturing, where that plays a role in their community, like Oshawa, that they know what's going on, they know how this is going to play out and how best to strengthen and support those communities.
And many communities are voicing their concerns. One of the most vocal communities is Motor City. Oshawa Mayor John Henry doesn't see this as a free trade deal at all, especially for hardworking Canadians.
The TPP is not equal here in Canada and in the United States. There's different rules governing the auto industry in both communities. For example, tariffs on Japanese cars in the United States are 25 years, ours are 5. The rules are substantially different. So am I concerned? Absolutely. The auto industry is a key component of the economy of Canada. It's a big part of the Oshawa economy, but it's more than that. It's about every auto parts maker, every auto assembly, every factory, and every automotive retiree that lives across this country. So the issue of automotive, it's the apple and the tree. The car is the apple, the shiny thing that you see coming off the end of the line. But the tree is the auto worker and the auto parts suppliers. But the roots of the auto industry are the retirees and where they live and where they spend their pension dollars. So I'm very concerned. I'm also concerned the difference between free trade and fair trade. And there's a difference. Free trade is only fair if the playing field is equal in every country. And when the rules are different in other countries than they are here, then that doesn't make it fair or free trade. So I have huge concerns. If you manufacture a product in another country that doesn't regulate the safety of their employees, and here we do, we have great rules in place to protect employees, that's not fair trade. If somebody is able to do something in a way that is unsafe, and it's not allowed here in this country and should not be allowed in any country, that's not fair trade. So in order to have free and fair trade, it needs to be based on an equal playing field. I don't see this in this document.
Now that the TPP has been published, the Liberal government has given average Canadians until early next year to learn about the deal and voice their concerns about the TPP.
It's time to decide if this deal is something Canadians can't live without or an unfair agreement that looks to undermine Canada's fragile industries.
In Oshawa, reporting for the Chronicle, I'm Michael Clark.
That's it for today. To check out more of the Chronicle stories, check out our website at chronicle.durhamcollege.ca.
Or you can check us out on Twitter at DCUIT Chronicle for more.
This is Alex Costa.
And I'm Michael Clark. Thanks for watching.